Alright everybody, welcome back to another game, another stream of CCL, sorry. As we get things started, me and Zep are going to be running you through it. We've got Newberry Wolves versus Ole Miss Red. Zep, how are we feeling?
Feeling absolutely fantastic, my friend. It's the Battle of the Reds here today for the first game of day 2 of the CCL. The first day was absolutely fantastic. Had the pleasure of covering 2 out of the 3 games there, and they were absolute bang out. So much fun to watch from start to finish. The CCL 2026 is truly off to a flying start, so we're hoping we're going to be able to keep that good form and that momentum. Of course, both of these sides facing off against each other for the first time. How will they fare out? Only time will tell. We'll be getting into the maps and modes very shortly. It's a bit of an interesting combination compared to what we've seen, yesterday, shall I say, because we've not got 1, we've not got 2, we potentially have a triple scar in our hands.
Yeah, and I think this is a good, test for these teams to see where they lie. I feel like this is a good, controlled setting for these teams to show how they go up against each other and to see where the holes in their game plans are, right? I don't think you're going to come into the series finding anything unexpected with these maps. I think you know what you're coming into. You know how to play these maps to the best of your ability. And I think that it's going to be a very good learning curve for both these teams, whether you're winning or losing, to come back with some valuable information on how you can improve going throughout the season. Because at the end of the day, that's what you're looking for in any sort of league play setting, and CCL's the perfect place for that.
Absolutely, and it's very early doors, isn't it, right? Because at the end of the day, if there's any place you're going to have a bad game, if things aren't going your way, right, you're going to want that to be your first game in your first week. If you're going to have a stinker, get it out of the way early, learn from your mistakes, give yourselves the opportunity to make some mistakes, and just push through, try and learn, try and make it some plays, see if they work, see what doesn't work, and adjust throughout the season. Now is the point to try things when the pressure isn't too on, but going into a Colossus hardpoint, I think it's going to be an absolutely phenomenal map to watch, because again, we have potential triple scar coming up where that winner, or the winner of the series, we say, it will be a player who's just well versed on Scar. Colossus, the outlier map, the team that's on the back foot after this one, is not going to be looking good.
Yeah, well, let's see how things kick off here. P1 online, looking to try and get some kills, trades back and forth. We got Newberry coming in with some good time here on the initial. Also looking towards those P2 spawns. Not quite yet, but you'll have to get some rotations going soon. But so far, so good as P1 comes online.
Yeah, P1 online, a little bit back and forth here, but it is going to be the Newberry Wolves that are locking down the points so far. Ole Miss Red trying to get broken in, but really struggling at the moment. Again, if you can turtle up onto this P1, you can soak so much time early on. But you can see now on your map, the spawns are flipping. So Newberry are going to have to rotate back once again for P2. But you look at their positions, they're set up to do so. Collapsing back on both sides. They're going to have a clean setup for P2, getting good time on P1 as well. It's been a terrific start for them. Bucky on a 7 spree.
Yeah, already got the Hellstorm in the back pocket as well, and a beautiful rotation there to chain the hills. You've already got so much time on a relatively neutral point, and you chain that into a P2. It's going to be a beautiful start for Newberry, and you just see how much work that you have to get from Ole Miss Red if you are trying to get back into this P2, and that's already at the start of this hard point. You can see some big kills coming through in a second as well. Beautiful stuff there on the AR, and now we can see, already on the rotation, not trying to play any games here. Locked in, beautiful stuff.
Yeah, this is so far just complete and utter domination. They've got the lanes locked down. They're getting those 3 and 4 pieces, holding down the spawns, making sure the push from front isn't on, covering the angles well. You have that flank coming through, I believe, from Exodus. Will they be able to make a count around the back to get some semblance of scrap time? So far, it is Sleepy, putting plenty to sleep up front there on the 5 spree, 7 and 1 to begin with. You've got a 10 and 1, you've got a 7 and 1, you've got a 2 and 0, barely a player drop. Only 6 deaths so far for Newberry as they begin the rotation over towards P3. It has been a perfect start, but Ole Miss Red have a chance to counter now, being the first side rotated to P3.
Oh, beautiful stun there from Eternals as well. Gets the kill near rotation. Got another one to deal with. They might get the job done though. Gets him weak. Wallbang not good enough either. Finally some points on the board for Ole Miss Red, but you're already 2 hard points down, sorry. Coming to this P3, you've got a lot of work to do, and you can see the pinch starting to come through. Spawns back in, and Bookie's able to find 2. My goodness. Beautiful stuff on the break, and Newberry back in with some time.
Yeah, Bookie's been absolutely phenomenal so far, already on 13 kills, racking up 30 seconds of time as well. And Beasley 3-0 hasn't had many engagements because he's just been turtling, soaking up the time, already 1 minute deep, and purely just not having the engagements because everyone else is slaying all around him. Beasley though coming through with the streak, picking up 2 as well. They're just happy to burn everything early to shut down Ole Miss Red, not giving them any chance to get going. The more they can play like this, the more that Ole Miss Red aren't going to be able to find any semblance of form going into map 2, which could already leave them in a very, very dangerous place. Over 100 points in the lead, perfectly rotated to next point in regards to spawns. This is just exactly what you want if you're a Newberry fan.
Well, let's see how Newberry's sounding as we go for a listen and see how those comms are going.
One statue.
These tunnels. Sweet.
Statue.
He's P1.
Closing down.
I hated when I was...
Two front, two
I have
front.
your front cross. I have your front cross. More front then.
I'm terrified. This is actually the scariest COD I've ever played.
No, one front, bro. Front.
Beasley! Stay alive, Beasley! He's on the heady. I have your help. I got stunned. He's aping.
I'm picking up yellow lobby. I'm picking up yellow lobby. Yellow lobby. Yellow lobby. Yellow lobby dead.
I'm out front. I'm out front.
Alright,
He one got through. One got
I
through.
blind. You're good. You're good. You're
I
good.
promise you one got through.
No, one's through. One's through. Nuke. Side door.
I got you, Beasley. I got you, Beasley.
Oh, you're
shot.
here. Nice.
Check the president. Can I just hide the rest of the map and let y'all? Yeah, you should.
The comms are cool, calm, collected because they are playing to perfection here, Newberry, as it is just a demolition derby all the way through. Eternals now 23-7, and you know, judging by the comms, the way they want Beasley to stay alive, I think they're hoping they can get to the end of this map without Beasley dropping so much as once. Currently 7-0, nearly 2 minutes in Hill, is simply playing it safe. You can see kind of towards the back spawn, just playing to preserve that KD now at this point. And look, in any other situation, you say that's a bit silly, but when you're so far in the lead, hey, you might as well have some fun with it, and why not?
Yeah, I mean, look, you've got to have some sort of, I guess, challenge for this team. You know, I don't want to put Almost Red down, you know, while they're already not doing too well, but you've got to have something to give yourself a little bit of a challenge. So that's what we're seeing here. K Beasley still staying alive, doing his thing. We got a lot of time coming in towards Newberry, and the hard point is an absolute wash. But I mean, these are moments you can try and learn from if you're Almost Red. You know, what's going wrong, what's going right, what's the other team doing right? You know, so there's a lot of stuff that you got to work on going out of this. But it's a beautiful game from Newberry.
I mean, from Newberry, it is just perfection. It is just that they are doing the basics right. They have that slaying ability. That power is just simply unmatched. 32-226. I mean, you're just playing a whole different ball game. Unfortunately, for Ole Miss Red, it is going to be, you know, I was going to say it's going to be a very long series for them, but it's probably going to be a very short series for them if it keeps up at this rate. But they are finally getting some time on the board. They have wiped Newberry off the point. But again, that is because Beasley just trying to focus on staying alive. But to be honest, even the position that Beasley is holding will work when eventually they start playing towards P3 and the rotations off then to P4, which will surely seal the game. But to be honest, I don't even think they're going to need to seal the game by that point. It could already be said and done by then.
Man, I'm just looking at this arrow. It's so difficult to keep my eyes off it. It hasn't moved. Number 5, Beasley, has not moved from that spot all game. They're essentially playing a 3v4. But, you know, I've got to give credit. Alfred and Exodus both bring it back somewhat, getting some more kills on the board. You know, getting the ball rolling, and everyone's got to start somewhere. Our team's got to start somewhere. They've got to improve, and this is the way to do it. Sometimes it takes a bit of a, you know, a bending over to do it, but it's getting there, and we're almost to the final points of this hard point. Newberry looking to try and close it out here. So at least some points coming back for Almost Red, and, you know, something for a bit of pride.
Yeah, you got to play for a bit of pride at this point. Try and set yourself on the right foot going forward. Again, as we said, going into this series, where do you want to have your worst game? Probably day 1, week 1 in terms of your playing throughout the season, right? So it's a learning opportunity for Ole Miss Red here, but they got a lot to learn from as Newberry Wolves really took them to the cleaners in that map, teaching them how to play Colossus hardpoint. 250, I believe it was, to 60 something it was in the end up, but I mean, I think about 40 of that 60 seconds was gifted by the fact that, as you say, it was essentially a 3v4. Complete and utter domination, and so far looks like a huge mismatch in this series.
Yeah, look, I mean, it's not shaping up to be a close series, that's for sure. You know, Search and Destroy, there is the argument to be made that it is a different game mode. You don't need as much experience going into it, right? I think if you're a team that's starting out, Search and Destroy is a game mode where you can kind of have more individual talents flourish a little bit. You don't have to go into it as you know, a coordinated and set team. That being said, obviously, as you can see on the graph, the gap here is massive between these two teams, not only in score, but just in, you know, the difference in team ability. And you know, Search and Destroy, I'm sure, will be a similar story. But I think going into it, you kind of have to be prepared of, like, what are these two teams going to bring? And, you know, maybe we can see some surprising moments from Ole Miss Red. Maybe they bring out some cool stuff, some individual plays, some cool kills and stuff like that that you can kind of take with a bit of stride rather than just going straight for the win. Not every series that you're going to play as a team is going to be the one that you win, and that's just kind of how it goes. Beasley, of course, doing the goal that we heard in the comms. No deaths, 7-0. Not a lot of kills, but got the job done. Also, a minute 50 of hill time and no deaths is pretty crazy, but, you know, that's kind of how the series went in a nutshell.
Hey, listen, got in, got the time, stayed alive, and get out, playing tactical warfare, making sure not to drop, sort of Beasley being inspired a little bit by perhaps the extraction shooters, making sure that he wanted to get out alive. But I mean, you had... Yeah, I mean, look, you got Slayers across the board. Beasley coming away with loads of loot, I'm sure, as Bucky, Sleepy, and Eternals are slaying around for him. 25, 30, and 32, respectively. Total and utter domination, of course, for the side of Ole Miss Red. The KDs are not that good, but it's a learning experience. Plenty of time to improve, but improvement is definitely needed if they want to make any sort of mark here in the CCL. The talent pool is incredibly varied, which is amazing to see, with College COD giving everyone the opportunity and the platform to go in and compete. But it really does show some of those lower level teams that the pathway they need to go on and the strides they need to make if they want to get to that top level of the CCL.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, for Colossus hardpoint, that's kind of what you're going to get. I mean, the beautiful thing about Black Ops 7 as a whole is that you have these maps that are a lot more, you know, traditional to other previous titles, and you can control them a little bit better as a team. You know the fundamentals, and if you know the fundamentals, you can execute it very effectively, and that's what we saw in Colossus there. Even with a bit of fun and games, still a washing. So we'll see how Search and Destroy goes. Scar, a lot bigger of a map. Maybe the ARs get a bit more time to shine. Subbies can play some routes too, but you know, all in all, this is going to be some long-range gunfights we're going to see, and it's going to be an impressive feat, I'm sure, from Newberry again, but I'm looking to see what Ole Miss Red can pull out of the hat and see if there's anything that they've got here.
Yeah, of course, we love seeing an underdog team, a team that's on the back foot, finding some sort of form and momentum going forward. But what I hope to see at this point is, like, look, we're seeing a clear disparity in the abilities here. Maybe Ole Miss Red have something to bring to the table in a Search and Destroy, but I hope Newberry Wolves don't bring too much messing about, right? Show respect to your opponent, go in, get the job done. If you're feeling like you have the beatings of them, you know, I do not want to see two players starting to play their lives around the back and going for 1v4s. If the situation allows it, sure, go for it. It's in the competitive nature. We love to see 1v4s or whatever, but we don't want to be seeing a situation where Ole Miss Red are kind of being laid bare, so to speak, in regards to maybe at times being made fun of by Newberry Wolves. And again, this is all under the pretense that Ole Miss Red may not have anything to bring to the table, but of course we only have that map number 1 to go off, and that map number 1 unfortunately didn't shine the best light on them. But I would be absolutely delighted to be proven wrong on that.
Yeah, and I think going into it right on that point, if you're a really strong team like Newberry in this matchup, I think it's a bit disingenuous to go in and be like, we're not going to give our best here. We're going to, you know, play around and do that. As much as it seems like it might be fun to do, you're not only kind of playing different in a competitive setting, which might make your team as a whole play a little bit worse, right? Because you're getting experience against a lesser team. When you come up against the better teams, you're used to playing these kind of fun and games that can kind of cost you a little bit. And you're also kind of hurting Ole Miss Red in the fact that their team's not going to be getting the best version of your team, and they're not going to improve as much from it, which is ideally what you want. You want as much competitive teams in a league as possible for your benefit and for their benefit. Kind of is a win-win situation for both teams in this situation when you're really giving it your all, because you want everyone to improve. You want the best competition possible because you want to improve with the best competition possible. That only works when you have really good teams in the league.
Well, plenty of room to improve for Ole Miss Red as we get ready for map number 2. Scar, Search and Destroy off the back of a map 1, where for those of you who may be just joining us here this evening, we saw Newberry Wolves run riot against the Ole Miss Red side. The Red Derby here, you could argue, but one of which Newberry Wolves are certainly in the ascendancy on. Ole Miss Red have the opportunity to change that here, but they're going to need to make an impression quickly or they're going to be in deep trouble.
Already some kills going out. So beautiful kills at that for Newberry. They go up 3 versus 2. Sniper comes out with a nice hit marker. Not going to quite get the quick scope on there, but a 1 versus 2 is what we're left with, and a very quick round coming out from Newberry to take that lead. But again, a little bit closer than what you'd expect coming out of this team.
for sure a little bit closer, but again with Newberry, are they just playing it safe in that regard, just bundling up, getting aggressive, but knowing that they have the trades in hand, right? Because, you know, this is what we need to see from Ole Miss Red. If they're going to be dealing with that aggression, they need to be able to absorb the pressure, they need to be able to get the picks and get out with their lives, and even when they go and actually push up themselves and get a kill, not being instantly traded out by a player that is there beside them. Ole Miss Red are going to need players on this roster to pick up some two pieces here and there and catch Newberry lacking as they go on the aggressive. But of course, Ole Miss Red now on the offensive themselves. How are they going to play it themselves? Going to try and take this bomb. It looks to A, doing a bit of a 2-2 split. Same with Newberry here. It's going to be a direct confrontation up in this motel.
Oh, Bookie in an awkward situation is able to find one, almost a second. And a second off screen from K. Beasley. Sleepy finally going to find Exodus, and a 1 versus 3 is what we're left with, but a dangerous situation for Ole Miss Red. Now Exodus looking to take on the world, finds one, some jumps going around, getting toyed with a little bit, and over the top, might get the job done. A beautiful round from Newberry yet again, and off the back of that Bookie play, gets him the second round.
Yeah, another solid round from Newberry. Again, look, the trades were there here and there, but I think we're ultimately picking at straws. Newberry getting the job done, going a little bit more aggressive than they should, right? Making plays that you normally wouldn't make in a more competitive matchup, but again, you know, if you feel like you're going to get the drop on your opposition by doing something that's a little bit silly, you might as well do it, right? But I think for Newberry, we're already seeing a situation where they may not have anything come out of this map that they would take into future series in the CCL, right? Because I mean, we saw the play over towards that top motel. That was insanely aggressive. That I think in 99% of other cases, it's not going to pay off.
Wow, good set nade over the top as well when in the first blood. Ethan, the one going to fall. Sniper in the hands of Beasley yet again. Good flank as well. We'll find a kill here. Exodus able to get the trade off the back of Eternals. We're still in a 2 versus 3 bomb going down as well. So post plant in effect. Ethan will fall. And the last play from Ole Miss Red as well. And Newberry taking it by storm. Beautiful plays. Just able to pick up the pieces very, very easily and consistently at that.
Already over halfway there and barely breaking a sweat here at the moment. Again, at times dropping one, but seldom any more than one, as they're just able to lock these rounds down. And, you know, we even seen, as you said, a nice flank came through there for Ole Miss Red, but you know, I think it was Glaurung who was on that flank, but they just don't seem to have the same ability that you need in competitive COD, where they get one, they don't know where to look straight away for the two. They can't pick those danger points out quick enough, so they're consistently being caught out in these trades with barely a gunfight.
Yeah, it's a bit of lack of experience, but that's why they're here. That's part of it. K. Beasley able to get the first blood for Newberry yet again. Now 3 versus 4. You got Alfred as well, getting a lot of pressure towards him, just trying to play his life as best he can. It's a good spot. Just need the help from the team. Whether or not they're going to be there is a different question. Bomb goes down, but immediately traded. Ethan able to find one, but it's immediately traded yet again. Bookie able to find 2. Some team kills coming out, and I mean, you know, I don't blame him, but a bit of fun and games going on here for Newberry.
And now Sleepy going to hop the defuse, the last man left standing as mutiny runs wild in the Newberry side. But of course, playful mutiny, I think it is at the end up, getting that round to go 4-0 up. And yeah, I mean, look, Ole Miss Red, we were hoping that they were going to be able to show something here. And again, on the 1v1s, they could definitely make the plays to get a couple of kills here and there, but even at that, you can argue Newberry, they're not locking down lanes. They're not bothered about watching lanes. That they are playing very single track minded. If they want to go somewhere, they're going there. They're not too worried about what may come behind them. It's just so one dimensional here at the moment, and it's just working for them.
Yeah, and I mean, just taking it stride if you're almost red. These are games that are going to happen. First blood again. K. Beasley. Seems to be every round that they're able to find the first blood. We'll see here as postplan comes in effect very easily as they get on that A site. You've got a 3v4 retake. How's it going to come through? Player in the back. It'll be K. Beasley again. Sleepy. Exodus left in the 1. Sorry, Glorin left in the 1 versus 3. Not going to happen though. Newberry take 5 and match point here in the search and destroy, which is quite a similar story to the hardpoint.
Yeah, not good. Not good. Being an Ole Miss Red fan, you must not be happy with what you are seeing here today. But again, like, look, it is just, again, we've been battering on about it already, but we will continue to do so. You know, sometimes there is just a bit of that skill gap in these situations. Unfortunately for Ole Miss Red, they are on the receiving end of it here today. But again, I'll give credit to Newberry as well. They are a side that is looking good, right? Ole Miss Red, I'm sure they're no slouches by any means either, right? So give the credit to Newberry as well. They are just getting the job done. They're clearly a very, very strong team. Sleepy 7-0 at the moment. You've got 2 players now looking to stay alive and not drop a life in this map, which means if they're able to do so on this map, you'll have had 3 out of the 4 players play at least one map where they have not died so far.
Yeah, and I mean, now it's all up to Ethan. Will he get the kill? Is the question. And no, it's a 6-0 sweep. And I was hoping he would at least get off that donut, but fortunately, just like the scoreline, he will end with naught. And it's a beautiful search and destroy yet again from Newberry, and probably a CCL speedrun for the quickest series of all time if they continue like this. It is an impressive feat, regardless for Newberry.
Newberry are just looking uber dominant here as they come through with all 6 of the rounds. First bloods each and every time, coming through with the defuse just once, and for every other round getting the job done before having to do anything like that. Route 1, it was simple for Newberry, but more than enough to get the job done as Ole Miss Red finding themselves a little bit stranded here with not really much to look at in regards to salvaging something from this series other than maybe taking it as a learning experience. The Red Derby going completely one here for the side of Newberry, as you know, they just continue to look stronger and stronger. And to be honest, not only are they're not just running at 90% or 80%. To be honest, I don't think we're seeing a Newberry side here really breaking a sweat in any capacity.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going into this as Ole Miss Red, you're going to be thinking, you know, what can we do to at least alleviate some of this pressure, at least get some sort of, you know, advantage in this series in terms of improvement. And coming into Overload, yeah, it's going to be tough. I mean, maybe you go into this, like Newberry has a lot of experience. They've never played this game mode in a previous COD. This is all fresh. Maybe Ole Miss Red can get something done here. But again, I'm not going to pull the wool over anyone's eyes. It has been a very dominant performance, and I assume we're going to see that here on map 3. But as this is their first match here in CCL for both these teams, Overload is unknown territory, and it will be very interesting to see how these 2 teams handle it, especially how Newberry's going to handle it going in as the more dominant team, you know, how they're going to play against it. I don't think it will really come into play that much. There's such a difference in these 2 teams that Ole Miss Red is not going to be having the slaying power that Newberry's going to bring just on a, you know, basic level. Not only that, but the team chemistry that we obviously see from Newberry. But it'll still be interesting nonetheless, at least to me, to see how these 2 teams go at it.
Absolutely, and look, you can kind of tell it now. I don't think there's going to be too much strategy coming into this one, right? Newberry are completely dominant at the moment, and going into map number 3, I think it is going to be a case where strategy is not really going to matter. The position plays aren't really going to matter. When it comes to just locking down that EMP and pushing through the spawns, I think Newberry are just going to engage that spawn trap on Scar early doors, start flooding that EMP through. Hopefully don't start, you know, trying to have too much fun in the case of dragging the game out. If they want to get a couple of more kills, you know, they should be going in and just getting the job done. But if they can slay out just even half as much as they have throughout the course of this series, then it is just going to be a case of Ole Miss Red getting trapped in spawn and getting dunked on over and over again.
Yeah, well, we're going to have to see how that map 3 goes after a short break. Do not go anywhere. We have map number 3 coming up here shortly. Alright, everybody, welcome back. Still in the series, 2-0 now up if you're just joining us for Newberry, and we're going into map 3 Overload on Scar as well. So replay here for this map 3, and you know, it's been a pretty dominant series for Newberry. We'll see if that continues here.
Yeah, I mean, only a matter of time. Map number 3 is about to get underway. Newberry Wolves being utterly dominant again. Folks, for those of you who may be joining us, this is just the first of 3 games that we will have for you this evening. This first game flying on by as Newberry Wolves have been utterly dominant in just about every capacity. In comparison to Ole Miss Red, who just simply cannot get out of the gates in any which way, now finding themselves on the back foot going into Scar for the 2nd time this evening in what could have potentially been a triple Scar. I have a funny feeling that we're not going to see that map for the 3rd time around. Newberry will be looking to get the job done here on Overload, looking to get it done quickly. And to be honest, again, with the greatest respect to their opposition, I think Newberry will be feeling at this point that they have the opportunity to set maybe a bit of an Overload record here time-wise if they push through to try and get those Overloads as quick as they can.
Yeah, Exodus with a nice position, able to find 1 and a 2nd as well. Better looks out of Ole Miss Red, able to find a bit of kills, and the kill feed finally lining up a bit of white. So, beautiful start for them. And to at least come back on this Overload, we've got a bit of signs of life for this team.
Yeah, maybe they were pulling a little bit of a fast one on us here as they look to try and get this overload through. Nearly getting there, ultimately dropping though as Eternals and Sleepy pick up a couple to now pick up the EMP and get pushed forward over towards B. And I'm taking a look at that position of Bucky as well. He's in a position to cause so much trouble. Here's the flood of red coming on through. One overload is going to be there, and it is just a case of brute forcing it at this point. They've realized that Ole Miss Red, they're just even without being challenged, they're just a little bit slow to actually pick up the kills.
Yeah, but it looks like Ole Miss Red are settling a little bit more into this series as we go along with it. I mean, don't get me wrong, nothing, extraordinary, but at least we're seeing a bit more kills, a little bit more comfortability in the gunfights. They're not letting, easy mistakes come through in terms of the individual gunfights, and that's something at least impressive to see from them. But another overload looking to try and come on through, and unfortunately does get stopped right at the end for Newberry, and they try and keep this ball rolling, gets distracted with the gunfight, and they're able to get it 2-0 now as they go in with a second point.
And now running the risk of getting spawn trapped. The kills keep flying through for Newberry. They are looking confident here as they have that lane completely cleared out, forcing the spawns over to A, giving a clean path towards B, and already just one overload away from ending the half. And as you say, Ole Miss Red, they definitely gave it a go. I like the angles that they kept, but when the game starts getting a little bit more free-flowing and engaging, they just simply cannot keep up with the pace. The only way Ole Miss Red seems to get a kill is from holding that sort of flank angle and trying to play the timings, but halftime already upon us here. Newberry trying to make this one as quick as they can.
Yeah, I mean, that was a very quick halftime. And I think it's a good point, right? As soon as it got past that initial, first setup where they were relatively even, they just didn't know how to effectively play against the trap and the positions that were coming out from Newberry, and just a lack of experience they will gain throughout these matches. But a great score from Newberry already halftime. Very quick, very rapid. They're not looking to play about. They're looking to end this here and now.
And nearly over the finish line here. 4-0 up, Eternals 11-3 on a 6 streak here at the moment. Dominant from Newberry once again. Ole Miss Red in deep, deep trouble. Is this going to be sort of bad news going in even to the rest of the CCL? The series has certainly gone from them, but what will they taken from this experience, I think, will be the key factor in deciding how they perform going forward. As Beasley going forward with the EMP, getting the 5th overload, 3 more potentially on the way rather quickly as it spawns out over towards the right-hand side. Bucky will already have control.
Yeah, and they're already on that spawn, already looking to run this up the right side. You've got all the players as well spawning mid-map, trying to rush towards this A point. But already, another point on the board, 6-0. Every time this is spawning, it's going straight back into the spawn of Ole Miss Red. So, very difficult situation. Knife kill comes in for Alfred onto Sleepy, but yeah, look, it's not looking good. This is how the series has been, leading up to the whole time, and we're just seeing the final embers here as they continue to fry out and make this kill feed that blood red that we've come to expect between these two teams.
And Eternals making it 17 here on the 4-spray pistol in hand. Make it 5. Sure, why not? You're having fun. You might as well keep going. A Sleepy now pushing the right-hand side to try and catch those spawners. And when they do, it'll be night-night as Eternals deciding to pick up a team kill before ending the map. Newberry Wolves Red taking that one 8-0, taking the series 3-0 in what is arguably going to be the most dominant performance we see in the entirety of the CCL. Men versus boys. Newberry getting the job done against Ole Miss Red.
Yeah, it's like John Wick, got the pistol out, running through, deleting anything in his path. Beautiful stuff from Newberry. I mean, if you're Ole Miss Red, take it with a bit of soul. It is what it is. Learn from it and continue to improve throughout this season. But tough matchup for them, but not so much for Newberry. 6-0, 8-0, 250-61 with K. Beasley being pretty much down the entire hardpoint. So very, very dominant throughout this series. And not much you can do. It's just how how it's going to be matched up. It's how it's going to happen when we get these matches. And fortunately for all the viewers at home, you've got 2 more matches coming up that hopefully will be a little bit more exciting, a little bit more evenly matched going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, we're just getting things warmed up here before we go forward into what will be the truly competitive games. But, you know, as much as we're saying, you know, commiserations to Ole Miss Red that it wasn't a series for them, we still got to commend Newberry, right? The way that they played Eternals, Beasley, Bucky, Sleepy, all across the board, combining to be a very dominant team, right? And, you know, Ole Miss Red wouldn't have lost as much as they did if they didn't compete against a team as good as Newberry Wolves Red. So, look, massive congratulations to them. I'm sure they'll be feeling happy after that game, of course, realizing that there are far tougher challenges ahead of them. But hey, starters, you mean to go on, go in, get the job done quick, be dominant. They certainly did that here while having their mix of fun here and there. We've seen that in the map 1, right? Having a player not dying at all and they end up just sitting playing the back spawn. You know, they had their fun, but they didn't get carried away. They just locked in and were disciplined in making sure to get the victory.
Yeah, exactly right. And there's really not a whole lot you could say about this series. The scoreline says it all. Usually, you know, when we see a 3-0, I can kind of say that it was competitive here or it was a closer match there, and it may not tell the whole story. This one tells the whole story. 3-0, not much more to say. We won't waste any of your time. We'll go straight to a break and try and get those matches ready for you coming up. But it's been a pleasure, Zep. We'll get these next matches going on as we go to a break.